Hey, Unbound Ones, it's Nicola here, and today I wanted to talk to you about desires, your desires, and specifically how to manifest your desires, what it requires in order to manifest your desires. And that kind of rhymes, so that's pretty cool. And the reason I wanted to talk to you about this today is that it's something that's been coming up for me personally, particularly over the past couple of weeks, and I've seen it coming up with clients. So I really wanted to speak to this because I think a lot of the information that's out there about manifesting really simplifies it and doesn't it doesn't really give you the full picture of what is required in order to manifest your desires. It can be a very simple process, but some of the things that it's likely that you really want in your life, in your business, in your relationship, it's likely that there are going to be additional steps that aren't generally covered in a lot of the content out there about manifesting. So I want to speak to kind of the additional pieces today because they're really key, and this is why so many women that I see get really frustrated because they're not able to bring their desires into reality, and it can be things that they've been wanting for a long time, many years, and can't understand why it's not happening for them. And I've certainly been in that place as well. So let me give you an example of a couple of areas that I've been focusing on recently and what's been happening around that. So one of them is a personal example, and it's regarding my relationship, so my marriage, and one of the things that I've been working on over the past year or so, but probably over the past year, is a desire for more intimacy, and particularly more emotional intimacy in my relationship. Intimacy, connection, something that's really important to me in all areas of my life, and especially since we've moved. My husband and I, we've moved from the UK to the States, which was challenging in itself. So it kind of demands a higher level of emotional intimacy for us to be more open with each other and to bring stuff up to the surface. And we've been together nearly 9 years now, so it gets to a point where in order to carry on being together in the most potent way, there is a need for more intimacy. So this is something that I've kind of been focusing on. It's one of my conscious desires. Like I said, I've been doing work around it. And specifically over the past couple of weeks, it's something that I've been focusing on. And what I've noticed is, as soon as I made a really clear declaration, I've been really tuning into my desires, and this is one of them. As soon, pretty much, as I made that declaration, what happened is that Mr. H and I have started to have a series of, I guess you could call them arguments, challenging conversations, let's say, and actually initiated by him. So, what has been happening, it's become clear to both of us, is there's areas where, maybe one or the other or both of us in certain situations have been kind of holding back on fully being in our truth in certain areas, maybe being stuck in certain patterns or a dynamic of communication which isn't the most helpful thing. And Mr. H, specifically has started to bring these to the surface over a series of these conversations, which just seemed to manifest out of the blue. And initially, I felt really defensive around that. I felt really upset. We were having these, like I said, challenging conversations, and we were able to resolve them, but it was really uncomfortable. to have these. And it's like, well, what is going on? Maybe it's the stage we're at in our relationship. Maybe this is what happens when you've been together a certain amount of time. Maybe we shouldn't be together because we're having these challenges. There were all of these questions coming up for me. And then, through our conversations and me kind of like journaling and reflecting on, it's kind of almost like I'm holding myself to a higher standard at the moment because I have these certain desires that I'm wanting to manifest. What is happening is this process of realignment. So what happens is when you make a declaration that you have a particular desire, if you are inhabiting your being in a way that is ready to receive your desire, you will receive it immediately. Okay, so that's when the manifesting process can be really, really simple. But as happened in this situation, in this example, I wasn't completely ready to have the level of intimacy that I wanted in my relationship. You will go through this process of realignment, and this is what's been happening for myself and Mr. H over the past couple of weeks, and probably will be ongoing. In order to have that intimacy, it's not just going to happen like that. We need to create that between us, which demands a level of really clear and open communication, which maybe we weren't at that level before. So it can feel quite uncomfortable when you're going through this process of realignment, and it can actually feel like you're moving away from what you desire. I was like, I wanted more intimacy, and I imagined that there's a part of me that imagined that would be all nice and fluffy and lovely, and we were having these challenging conversations. So it's like, what is going on here? And another example is in my business. So I'm up leveling in my business, wanting to reach more people, wanting to create more financial abundance. It's a very clear desire that I am opening to at the moment. And again, what's happening over the past few weeks is this process of realignment. So, these are big desires, so they're not necessarily just going to click into place like that. I have to inhabit my being in a way that makes me open and able to receive them. I have to create a container in order to receive my desires. So what that has looked like is, and this has happened throughout my business actually, whenever I've been up leveling, some existing clients fall away, like new opportunities start to come through, old opportunities, like the door closes, I get new ideas coming through, I lose enthusiasm for some of the things that I've been working on for a long time, and it can feel quite uncomfortable, particularly when it's things like existing clients falling away, or choosing to work in a different way. It's like, well, what is going on here? And you're actually being nudged in a direction or pushed in a direction that's going to allow you to receive your desires, but it can feel very uncomfortable. So you have to ask the question, am I willing to realign? Am I willing to inhabit my being in a way that is able to receive my desires, regardless of the discomfort? Whether your desire is to write a book. I'm working with a lot of women who are wanting to write a book at the moment and to reach more people with their work. Are you really willing to do that? Because this is a desire that's been bubbling away for, it bubbled away for me for years before I actually made that decision to write my first book, and then that cleared the way for my second book as well. But it demands you to inhabit your being in a way that says, yeah, I'm a writer, I am ready to share my writing with the world, I'm ready to reach more people, I'm ready to share my truth, I'm ready to be fully expressed. Those aren't things that just kind of click into place like that. It takes work, and it takes, like I said, this process of realignment, which can be uncomfortable, and it's all good. So you have to make a decision, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to inhabit my being in a way that allows me to receive my desires? And can I see what's going on around me now as evidence that my desires are manifesting, rather than thinking everything's gone to shit, basically, which can feel really chaotic and challenging. So that's what I wanted to speak to you about today, just share with you. I hope that makes sense. I'd be really interested to hear your comments and questions below this video. Something else that I want to say, if you ask yourself the question, am I willing to inhabit my being in a way that allows me to receive my desires? What I want to say is you are absolutely able to do that. If you have a genuine aligned desire, then you are absolutely able to receive it. But there may be this process of realignment, but you are definitely able to do that. You don't you don't feel desires by accident. There is a reason for them. What may be happening, if you're like, actually no, I'm not, it's a sign that you've picked up on somebody else's desire. So maybe you've been comparing yourself to somebody else and thought, I think I should want that, and you're moving towards a desire that isn't really for you. So when you ask yourself this question, it's like, no, I'm not willing to do that. Okay, so that's a couple of things to be aware of. Okay, Unbound ones, share your comments and questions below this video, and I do have space for probably between 2 or 3 one-to-one mentoring clients to work with me right now. I'm taking on less one-to-one clients at the moment, but if this is something that's speaking to you and you have some juicy desires that you want to manifest, that your unbound self is calling you towards, then let's have an exploratory conversation, let's have a chat. So either send me a message or comment below this video and we'll arrange a time. All right, here's to being your fullest, freest self. Unbound one, see you soon.